And that ought to be the focus of what the opposition party is talking about. Both are true, both are accurate, both, nobody hardly yet has seen the Fast and Furious as a big issue because the Democrat media has been covering rather well. But I think that is beginning to change. That's what we've seen. Even the number of interviews that we've been doing here has gone up sharply this week following what happened with Melson. So it seems to me that the word is finally out that, oh, the government was on a crime spree. What is going on here? And I think now the big networks and some of the big papers they're going to either have to get into this, or they're going to continue to lose circulation and coverage.
Now, Larry, in closing, they've been caught perjuring themselves. The head of the ATF has had to step down. It's come out that a whole bunch of federal agencies were involved and that this was directed by the White House. So where does this go? A, where do you see this investigation going? But B, from your own analysis, what was really going on here? Because you've got the drug dealing, all of it.
Well, some of the email now, I think, are going to put Mr. Newell in jail for perjury. I mean, I think it's a clear-cut case because his denials under oath about deliberately walking guns into Mexico are now blown out of the water because Newell, back in the middle of this whole mess, was pleading with three guys on the National Security Council in the White House to, hey, can't you convince the Mexicans to cooperate with us so we can try to keep track of the guns when they go south of the border? So there's the admission that he had lied under oath. They were letting the guns go south of the border. And I'm sorry, what was the other question?
Well, no, I mean, I understand that it's a way to blame the Second Amendment domestically, but why ship the guns into Mexico? What's the motive there to destabilize it? Blame the problems on Mexico, again, on the Second Amendment? I mean, I guess that's my own, I've answered my own question. Any final views on that? Then I've got one more question for you, Larry Pratt.
They wanted to hammer gun owners and gun ownership. They, in fact, one of the email was talking about, did any of our guns turn up in Fast and Furious? We want to have a demand letter go out to the southwestern state gun stores. And sure enough, they did it even after they got caught. Well, we need more gun control of the civilians in this country. And so that was what they were up to, clear as day. This whole episode, part of the phony number of how many guns we sent down to Mexico from gun stores and gun owners. It's all concocted. We're talking about 15% at most. And so they would have had to send a lot more guns down to really change the numbers. And perhaps if nobody had blown the whistle, that's exactly what they would have done. The only good thing about a U.S. law enforcement agent getting killed and the guns traced back to Fast and Furious is that's when the whistleblower said, that's it. We told them that would happen, and now we're going public.
Well, there's no doubt that if the Republican Party has the will, they can bring Obama down like Nixon. The only question is, do they want to go along with business as usual and allow the president to engage in these type of activities? Now, in closing, briefly, Larry, of gunowners.org, I want to get into some articles that I have out of the Orleans County Record in Massachusetts. I've got them out of Indiana. I've got them out of Arizona. I've got them all over the country where they're raiding gun dealers, confiscating all their guns and not even charging them, where gunsmiths at their houses are being raided, people buying 500 rounds of ammo are being raided. They're going and questioning people that buy rifles. So while the government has been caught shipping guns all over Latin America and allowing drug cartels to ship narcotics in, according to federal documents that have been filed in court, they're really going in an extrajudicial way after gun dealers and others. What's going on here?
One of the whistleblowers pointed out that they were trying to change the narrative by having some big, juicy case that they could show to the American people why more gun control was needed. And that was this suggestion. It came via a whistleblower, I should say, but it was an attempt to change the perception as soon as Cheryl Atkinson had aired her first story about John Dodson, one of the first whistleblower to go public, and they were hoping they could have a media campaign of their own to make themselves look good again. And so I think that's what all of this harassment is. Plus, let's face it, we've never had somebody as anti-gun as Eric Holder and Barack Obama in these two top positions. And so partly out of ideological drive, they're doing this because this is really the only avenue available to them is administratively using their executive powers. The Congress isn't going along with this. And by the way, one of the things we're going to be telling the Congress in the course of things when we can schedule it in the email that we send out to our members asking them to get in touch with their congressman is if you vote to refund Obamacare in the next continuing resolution, which comes up for a vote at the end of September or before that, but they have to have a new budget October 1st. If you vote to continue funding that, continue funding the program that blocked the reimportation of rifles and some shotguns by the federal boys at the State Department in this case, and BATF. If you vote to do a number of other things and do not defund those functions, the administrative harassment that is being conducted right now by this anti-gun administration, then we won't believe when you tell us that you're against Obamacare, that you're against the banning of the reimportation of these firearms and all those kinds of things. We'll tell you that that's a lie. And that's the message that we're going to be sending to the Congress.
All right, Larry Pratt, thank you so much for being out there and putting out your legislative alerts. People can sign up at gunowners.org for those free alerts, or they can sign up and become a paying member because you are the only no-compromise Second Amendment organization out there, and there's no doubt if you hadn't been there over the last few decades, we wouldn't have a Second Amendment today. Larry Pratt, Gunners of America, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back, my friends. We'll look at Ron Paul 2012 and how can we take this country back.
You don't need me to tell you that humanity is in a deep crisis. Everyone can feel it. We know a tectonic struggle is now taking place between the forces of freedom and those who love darkness, bondage, and enslavement. Yes, my friends, evil is rising. But take heart, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Recently, New World Order operative Hillary Clinton admitted they're losing the info war.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
The globalists are scared. They've overreached. The future of the info war is in your hands. Join prisonplanet.tv. Download the thousands of special video reports, ebooks, and more, and get them out to everyone you know. Continue to spread the word about the broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and every other globalist propaganda platform. We are going to use their system against them. The info war now goes into high gear.
It's InfoWars Nightly News. Be sure and check the website, InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv/news. We're now joined by longtime liberty activist Gary Franchi, who's been very successful in everything he's done, from promoting Aaron Russo's great film, America, Freedom to Fascism, to making documentary films and producing his own daily TV show, The Reality Report. I wanted to get Gary on to talk about his ideas of how we can hopefully even energize the population more to a higher level to ensure that Ron Paul wins the Republican nomination for president in 2012. Gary, great to have you here with us, my friend.
Alex, thanks for having me on this new format. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Congratulations on the work you've been doing as well. Liberty is rising, and tyranny is certainly freaking out about it. And later I've got a question about Illinois, because you're up there with the 75 years the guy's facing because he dared film the police in public. But first, this hoax that Ron Paul can't win, even though he's a top-tier candidate in the top three in every poll, every straw poll. What's your view on that? Is the hoax successful?
Actually, I believe the hoax is going to backfire on itself, because when you have the media parroting talking points that are being handed down from on high, and the people seeing different results in their own investigative research online, these two worlds collide, and it causes the American people to realize what's actually happening and make the sound judgments that we hope that they would make. So I think in the end, this hoax is going to backfire, and it's up to the alternative media, it's up to the people themselves to make the ultimate choice.
Well, the hoax began to backfire just a few weeks ago when even The Daily Show had this huge compilation of every network saying the same thing. Well, number 1 is this, number 2 is that, number 4 is this person, never mentioning who was number 3. Or in polls where he was number 2, they would mention number 1 and number 3. Or if he won the New Hampshire straw poll, which is even more coveted than Iowa, no coverage. So it has backfired, but still, some people say, yeah, I like Ron Paul, but he can't win. Ron Paul wasn't even in the top 5 3.5 years ago in the 2008 election. He's in the top 3 right now, and I think it's mission number 1 to get the word out that he is the only person who isn't an establishment candidate, the only person who isn't bought and paid for like Obama, Rick Perry, people like Mr. Carbon Tax, Mr. Obamacare author Mitt Romney. What's your take on the 2 guys that the system is pushing, Mitt Romney and Rick Perry?
Well, the world is soon going to see our first attack ad that we're going to be producing. You're going to hear, the people are hearing it here first, actually, with our Revolution PAC. We're